Hi, I'm Hannah, and along with my group members Kaylin, Raj, and Blake, we're going to be presenting our visualization project on environmental inequity. Environmental inequity refers to the fact that often underprivileged groups bear the brunt of the negative effects of climate change while also bearing a lot of the burden of the cost. I'm going to hand it off to my other group members to dive deeper into some of our visualizations.
So in this visualization, we focus on the top 10 countries by average annual CO2 emissions. And note that majority of these countries are leading economic powers, and we will be focused on these 10 countries throughout the rest of our visualizations to point out trends and discrepancies.
One metric we used to look at the burden of the global distribution of the burden of climate change was Notre Dame's GAIN index, which quantifies each country's vulnerability to climate change as well as their readiness to adapt to a changing planet. As you can see, often the most vulnerable countries are also the least ready, and encoded in a different way on this scatter plot, you can also see that countries with high GDP per capita, aka rich countries, are often low vulnerable and highly ready, whereas developing countries are the opposite.
One key issue is that the consumption of fossil fuels is really heavily skewed towards less vulnerable and more ready nations. For example, in this visualization, nations like the United States, UK, Germany, and Russia all have a high readiness climate score and a low vulnerability score.
Following up on what Kaylin said, 6 out of 10 of these well-prepared nations were actually found to be offering below the average renewable energy jobs relative to each country's population. We propose that these countries specifically need to offer more of these green jobs in order to effectively mitigate climate change.